Hello and welcome to another episode of Stuck in a Side Quest. This is our newest segment that we're doing, which will eventually turn into its own podcast, Crime Quest, with Tyler and Haley. And me, every once in a while, as a guest. Maybe every time, I don't know. We don't know yet.
We haven't decided if we're going to invite Trevor in or not.
Yeah, so, but today, we're pretty much going to be talking about, crimes. What's the genre called?
True crime?
True crime. There you go.
Not fake crime.
Yeah, not fake crime. It's not fake. This is all real. Maybe we'll do a quest, a thing with with fake crime.
We all.
Did y'all hear about that guy the other day? It's
On
like
that video
lie.
game.
No,
lie.
We should all three of us, or how many ever is on here, have a different crime, and only one of them is a real crime.
That's
kind of like two truths and a lie.
Man,
or two lies and a truth at that point.
And the two who make it up have to try to make it. You gotta try to make it like realistic and stuff as possible. But
so people listening to
that
it's like, I can't find
fun.
anything on this crime. This is crazy. And at the end of it, we're like, all right.
We don't announce this.
Two of those were completely fake. One of them was real. Y'all have to figure it out.
But what are we talking about? The Idaho murder?
Yes.
We are going to be talking about a very fresh crime.
Yeah, trigger warning. It's pretty fresh.
It's very fresh, and we're going to try to not make it too jokey because, people are still suffering from this. But
that's true.
It's about the Idaho, murders that happened at, what's the college name?
I don't know about the college, but it was in Moscow, Idaho.
It's
the University of, was it like...
Is it University of Idaho?
It's going to be hard for me not to say Idaho the entire time. I'm so sorry.
It is...
Washington State University?
No, that's the guy who... The suspect is from there. University of Idaho.
Okay.
That's what it is. Oh, UOI. Yeah.
For all listening, Tyler just looked off in the distance when he was thinking about that.
Yeah.
Okay. So, like Trevor said, this is very fresh. In fact, it's so fresh that while I was researching for the episode, a press release came out for the day. And some of my plans for this episode have been changed. So, and then, of course, by the time this comes out, the whole story could be turned upside down, honestly. We don't know all the details, and just be aware that everything we say is coming from our mouth, so that doesn't mean that it's completely true. Do your own research.
Yeah, we got all of our information from Wikipedia.
That is not true. I did a lot of research, including watching a lot of YouTube videos, a lot of news reels, and reading lots of articles. Please do not attack anyone involved in this case, as it's still being investigated, and also respect the families of these victims, as it is a current case and still very fresh news. All right, so these murders, of course, happened in Moscow, Idaho, and it happened on the early morning hours of November 13th, 2022. And what really popped out about this case is that is the night after our wedding.
The morning.
Or the morning after our wedding.
Yeah.
It was like 4 a.m., wasn't it?
I think. It was like 1 and... No, yeah.
It said...
They all got home around 1 or something like that.
Where I saw they think the murders happened after 3 a.m.
Okay, that's what it was, 3 to 4.
We weren't even married for 24 hours, and 4 people got murdered. There was probably a lot more than 4 people that got murdered, but
Well, which is kind of crazy about this case is like how up until now didn't have any clue who did it. And it's like most of the time they're like serial killers are kind of not becoming, which it might not be a serial killer, I guess. But that stuff like that doesn't happen as much anymore because there's too much technology and stuff to catch them early. And to have nothing for that while, like, people were like, uh-oh. Like, they were like, everybody was kind of freaking out because they didn't know who did it. Everybody was getting checked off as being okay with the roommates and ex-boyfriends and everything like that.
Yes.
Wild.
You don't have, like, back in, like, the 70s and 80s and stuff, I felt like every other month there was a new serial killer. And that just stuff doesn't happen nowadays. But I'm pretty sure he should be classified as a serial killer because after 3 murders,
Yeah, he probably is, though, 'cause I mean...
I guess technically,
Unless,
it's just, it
I don't know
hasn't
if
been
there
at
needs-
different locations.
Yeah, okay.
You know.
But still, you killed 4 people.
You don't know. He might have killed other people, or she.
I mean,
Or
there
skin
was
that dog.
Yeah, I know there was a skinned dog 3 miles within
A German
distance.
Shepherd. When she first told me, I thought they were talking about like a little like Yorkie or Shih Tzu. No, she was like, it was a female German Shepherd, and I'm like, good God, that's about like skinning a deer.
Yeah, that's pretty rough.
Those are big puppies.
Yeah, for sure. But when media decides to pick up a case like it has in this case, I think it's a lot harder for people to get away with things.
Yeah.
But it doesn't always mean the media is going to pick it up because there's so many cases out there where people are still trying to get the news to pick up their stories, and it just, it falls to the wayside. So in this case, hopefully, with the suspect that they have found, will be the end of this case. Hopefully. And we
Yeah.
haven't had a whole lot of answers yet on whether or not.
They just picked up a suspect.
Right. So anyways, our victims for this crime are Xana, Kaylee, Madison, and Ethan. Kaylee and Madison lived on the 3rd floor, and Xana and her boyfriend were sleeping on the 2nd floor. Xana lives there. Ethan does not. Madison and Kaylee have been best friends since 6th grade, and they were both senior students. Madison was majoring in marketing, and Kaylee majored in general studies. An important thing I saw was Madison was an only child. I mean, it really affected her family pretty terribly. Xana was also majoring in marketing, and she was a part of the Pi Beta Phi sorority. And her boyfriend Ethan was majoring in recreation sport and tourism management, and was a part of the Sigma Chi fraternity. Also, another fact I saw is that Ethan was a triplet. So I thought that was pretty devastating. To think, you lost a sibling, but not just a sibling. It's like, you're triplet. That's crazy.
I wonder if they felt anything. Like, legit.
Yeah, I don't know. Is twin telepathy a thing?
Might be. I don't know.
Maybe.
Some say that it is.
I think
might
they're
have felt
connected in
something.
some inner spiritual way.
Maybe so.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. There were 2 more roommates, and they slept on the 1st floor of the house.
That the person walked past. That is wild.
He didn't walk past them.
He just walked past the door.
The
or
way the
something?
house, there's 3 stories on the house, and the 2nd story is accessible through the back of the house. I guess there's
okay.
stairs that go up to it.
So the patio is on the 2nd floor. So there's like a sliding door entrance, and then there's the kitchen and the bedroom, and there's also another bedroom over there. But from what I could see, we're not sure if that bedroom was being used by anybody or just like an extra storage room.
Mm-hmm.
And then there were stairs going upstairs and stairs going downstairs. And the stairs going upstairs, you have 2 rooms up there, and 1 room is connected to a balcony. And so, from what we see, this person only went to the 2nd and 3rd floor. We assume he didn't go down to the 1st floor because they weren't murdered. The 1st floor was the original house, and the 2 upper floors were add-ons. And that's important because the 2 girls that were living downstairs didn't hear anything happening when the murders happened.
2 girls living downstairs? I thought it was a guy and a girl that lived downstairs. My bad. Well, I never really heard anything. I just assumed.
Can
Well,
you
I haven't-
access the second story from inside? And going up the stairs or no?
Yes, I think there are stairs.
Okay, I was
Yeah.
just seeing because maybe that could also contribute depending on.
It just blows my mind. I mean, I wouldn't know what to do if I lived in this apartment or this house that was 3 apartments, and I woke up and everybody
Yeah.
else was dead. I wouldn't know what to do.
The blood
And
was seeping out of the house.
yeah, and the
Yeah.
fact that I don't know, it's a little weird to me. I need to know more information because I feel like even if you're in the same house, you can hear people screaming.
You don't know if they were screaming.
Well, so
They had defensive wounds, like they were fighting back.
the thing is, though, they were murdered while they were sleeping. So when you wake up and you're having to fight back defensively, I mean, I don't know how that works, but I don't think you'd be screaming the entire time.
Yeah.
But also another point is, I mean, maybe they were screaming. The siding on the house is still there. It's just like it reminds me of how your sunroom was that you lived in that one time, where it was the build on. So one part of your wall was siding.
So it was you still have a full exterior wall between you and the.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I get it.
And a lot of people
the
have
police
said
have
when they've been
cleared
at
them,
parties
so-
over there, it's hard to hear anything up in the second and third floor.
I mean,
Yeah, you know,
the
they
police cleared them, so I was.
They could have had fans running like you do, and it'd be loud as fuck in their room.
Yeah.
And they came home at like 1 a.m., so I assume they were probably out partying too. And, you know, when you come home and, you know, you're a little tipsy.
Sleep hard.
Sleep hard.
Not necessarily good, but hard.
Yeah. And just like y'all said, there was potential blood coming out of the second floor of the house.
I
That's
saw
wild.
the picture of, I don't know if it was of that house, but it was, I looked it up because someone was talking about it and I just wanted to see because I'm weird like that. And I saw where they were like filming the side of the house and there was just red streaks going down on the concrete under the siding, like going down to the ground.
Yeah.
And that's
very
wild.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
From what we've heard, it was a very bloody crime scene. Like, just very...
Like that scene from the first season of Dexter.
Yeah. Like, blood everywhere.
Yeah.
So, the night before, Madison and Kaylee were reported to be at a couple of clubs. They were partying all night. And they also were spotted on video footage going to a food truck. And for a long time, people were looking at that surveillance footage, and there's a guy walking behind them.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people were saying maybe he could be a suspect. I haven't seen anything new or different about it, but I think they cleared him. I also saw there was some video footage from that they came back with the audio. And she was saying, one of the girls was saying, I told Adam everything. And the other girl said, why would you do that, basically? So then there's that part of the story. Like, there's this guy, Adam, that could be involved. But I haven't heard any updates on that
that's
either.
also like college drama and talk and stuff. And
That's true.
they could have been talking about something totally different than...
I know, but it feels like that could give some motive.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely there. I mean, it could be anything.
Yeah.
I mean, but I'm looking at these pictures. That is
Pretty rough.
Wild.
Authorities have acknowledged that there are gaps in the timeline for Xana and Ethan. Not everything's clear. Detectives continue investigating what occurred from approximately 9 p.m. on November 12th to 1:45 a.m. on November 13th, when Ethan and Xana were believed to be at the Sigma Chi house on at the University of Idaho campus. So they were like at a fraternity party, from what they could see. The 2 surviving roommates, like I said earlier, were home by 1 a.m. And what placed the time of death after 3 a.m. was Kaylee was calling her ex-boyfriend a lot before that point. So that's when the communication there stopped. So it had to be sometime after 3 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people have also blamed the boyfriend on these things. But Kaylee's family's come out and said, we don't believe it's him. And from what it sounded like, it was a fresh breakup. They saw the potential of them getting back together. And
this is one of the ones that was on the 3rd floor?
Yes. And so everybody just had a feeling that he was not involved in it at all. Because everybody saw them getting back together eventually anyways. The 911 phone call was made at 11:58 a.m. about an unconscious person. We haven't really been given any more information than that at this point. But basically what happened was the girls knew about it. They knew something wasn't right, so they called friends over, and that's when the 911 phone call was made. And so the operator said that they talked to multiple people, and those friends and the roommates have been cleared. But I can imagine calling a friend when you're freaked out like that to come over and check
Like you
things
don't know
out
what to
before you
do.
call.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably call 911.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if somebody was like, if something was going on, like, I don't even imagine if you walked up in there and, like, how bloody it was going to be. You probably are in so much shock that you don't know what to do.
Which maybe they didn't even see anything. Maybe they just knocked on the door and didn't get a response.
Yeah.
You know, and that can be scary too, especially if you think it could be a possible suicide as well, you know. The crime scene, like we said, there was a lot of blood. A murder weapon, which police described as a large fixed blade knife, was found.
I heard it was a K-bar, which is a very expensive hunting knife.
Yes.
And a very big knife.
From what I hear, it sounded like their wounds looked like tears in their body, and so it was not like anything surgical looking. It was very...
Stab and pull.
Yes, very gruesome.
Yeah, there's got to be either something personal about that, or... I don't know. That just seems maybe unprofessional, which I'm saying murders can be professional, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, you think if you'd planned it out, you would do something, and you didn't know these people, that would just kill them quickly and be done.
Yeah, but it sounds personal if you're stabbing them multiple times with a K-bar knife.
And seeing lots of blood.
Yeah, either that or and if it's not like a personal, then it's definitely psychopathic or whatever.
Yes.
Very.
Like, not normal.
I mean, it's probably already psychopathic, but...
but to another extent,
yeah.
for sure. Former FBI agent and retired profiler Mary Ellen O'Toole, who's not a part of the investigation, told CBS that it's highly likely the offender left a lot of physical evidence behind and may have even cut themselves while stabbing the victims as well.
There you go. But they must not be in the system or something, or have their stuff in the system.
I'm wondering, that's the thing with this suspect, is what the connection is.
Yeah.
That has made the probable cause likely. You know, that's what I really want to hear. And we don't know when we're going to hear that for sure, but...
How close is... Because he's from Washington, right?
No.
No, he's not?
He's got a degree in criminology. Criminology.
Yeah, and he was going for his PhD in Washington State.
In Washington State at a college, and they said it was like...
It's only like 10 minutes away from Idaho University.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
And
I don't know where Idaho is, because I did not know it was next to Washington.
It's
way over there.
Yeah. And he was picked up in Philadelphia.
Dadgum.
Yeah.
Like he ran?
I'm pretty sure he's from Philadelphia.
Yeah, I think he knows that area.
He was going to Washington. He was going to the college in Washington, but he was...
He had done all of his undergrad stuff over in Pennsylvania.
The only thing... They haven't released anything. Obviously, there's more connected to him in this place. But the only thing they've been able to say is that he was within a 10-mile radius at the same time of these murders happening. I mean, there was 1 million people in the 10-mile radius, but it was
They had to have some physical evidence.
they have something else.
Which in the last week they had made that radius go like 30 miles out or something like that.
Yeah, and they have an Elantra, which we'll get to. Was it Hyundai?
That white car that they had.
Yes, Fry said that they had found an Elantra.
But he said we have found a Elantra, and
it has not said the Elantra. And they have not found a murder weapon yet. So that's another thing, is that this murder weapon, Toole said the offender probably would not get rid of the weapon. Just because of how special the weapon is. You know, that's not something you're going to part with pretty easily.
Well, that's also coming from, unless this was like a one-time thing or this dude's like planned on doing it again. I feel like, I'm not saying I'm a murderer.
Those knives are pretty expensive, right?
If
K-bars are, if that's the knife, which I think
don't care how expensive the knife is. You got bodies on that knife. It ain't.
Yes,
it's like
but
a $2 pistol.
People who do those
Shit's
things,
hot.
I mean, still keep evidence.
Yeah, he might be connected to the knife, or that might be his murder weapon. That he's like, this is my knife.
I swear,
Just like Dexter has all of his tools.
Yeah, but he's like a serial killer. Like, he kills multiple people, like
very professional.
And he only gives up his tools when he thinks he's being led on. So, Dexter really has nothing to do with real life things, but I'm sure they took information from real life things. You know, he uses the same drill.
Well, I'm just talking about, like, if this dude planned on doing it again, he would probably keep it. Or if this was like a one-time thing, there was something that someone knew someone and he knew someone and that's what it did it and this was it, he probably could have got rid of it. I feel like.
The thing, though, like, I wonder if there's a connection with these people. I wonder if he's been to that house before. I wonder if he knows these people.
Didn't they say he's been there before?
I don't remember hearing that.
Oh.
Well, I mean, he walked straight up in there, which, I mean, they're like, oh, they have to know, which I'm trying to put myself, like, if I was walking up to a place I didn't know. I mean, he could have tried all the doors. That's why you get Ring cameras, bro.
Yeah. And sliding glass doors are well known to be broken into, which is why they always say you need to buy a bar for it.
Yeah.
Usually most of them come with a bar, but it's the fact of you need to put the bar on it.
And lock it, because it wasn't locked, was it? Did he break in or did he lock it?
We don't know.
I haven't seen any information about that.
I thought I heard that it was... I guess I should stop saying I thought I heard, but...
Well, there's a lot of misinformation out there right now, too. And that's what's hard about this case, is because it's so public, people are putting whatever they want to out there.
It being so public has also helped it.
Right.
Stay in the media. They got about 19 to 20,000 tips from people calling in tips from media outlets and stuff and everything.
Right, which with him being across the country, that makes a big difference. But, you know, also having to go through 20,000 tips is insane. So the coroner said that the victims were likely asleep and that some defensive wounds, there were some defensive wounds, and each person was stabbed multiple times, and there was no evidence of sexual assault, which is pretty important to know.
Yeah, that's rare. You ever see 3 girls get killed and a guy get killed and there's no sexual assault?
Yeah, at all.
Because that usually seems to be the motive nowadays.
Well, that's what makes it personal, you know?
Yeah.
Some things that police are saying. On December 7th, police said in a press release that they were looking for a occupant of a 2011 to 2013 white Hyundai Elantra. That was in the area. And when the students were killed, that was in the area when the students were killed, which they thought whoever was in that car has some pretty important information about this case.
Wasn't it captured like on the reflection of an iPhone? That's what I saw in a picture. It was like a reflection, like there was a picture taken, and it was in the reflection on the case.
Yeah, like it. Like, it was definitely in that area at the time. There was also a girl at a gas station who on her night shift was looking through footage and saw the Elantra as well. And so police were using that as...
she saw it drive by.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
around the time of the murders, too. And, yeah, it just makes sense with the direction it was going in and, you know.
Yeah. But then you honestly got to think there could be, like, some guy who bought a white 2012 Elantra and was just driving to work on the night shift.
That's a weird night shift time to go into work, though.
He could have been...
Could have been late, could have been early.
He could have called in late, had something. I'm just kidding. That's a stretch.
Very much a stretch. They have also mentioned, because of this being very public, that when evidence is leaked, it can still be evidence, but it's not as easy to verify anything after it's been out in the public because people can change it so much, you know.
Yeah, and then if there's people trying to claim that they did it, because people always do that, then they know that, and they will use that in their story to try to make it seem like they did it.
Which also happens in the first season of Dexter. With Buddy that's Star Killer from Force Unleashed.
Yeah,
He's in there.
On November 16th, Fry told reporters that investigators believed it was a targeted attack. However, after that, a few days later, they kind of took that back. They were like, we're not actually sure. So just stay safe around the campus until we find the murderer, basically.
They also weren't letting the kids leave and go home.
Well, they were trying to get them to stay.
They were trying to get them to stay at the college. And I get that because if it was another college student that did it, you would want to try to keep all of them there and interview them. But
it's obviously a college town, and which I saw that there was a police stop nearby where police were stopping drunk drivers or whatever, and that was part of it or whatever. But there's multiple students that could have information on the car, or if they saw something weird that you wouldn't think was connected to it until you get questioned, and it's like, oh, this could be a part of the whole ordeal and the plan.
Right, like who was at the same bars that night, who was at the same fraternity
the parties and who got stopped, or maybe who drove by the house and maybe saw something, or saw a car or something out of place. You never know.
Yeah.
But honestly, if my kid was off at college and something happened like that, I would definitely want them not to be there. Yeah,
Come home, please.
Well, also, I feel like just the world we live in today, if my kid, whenever I have a kid, goes off to college and stuff and stays in a house that's not on campus or anything, I'm going to pull up there and install some Ring cameras on that house.
Yeah.
That's my child, and it's going to be on my account. And
but that's another hard thing about parenting.
Yeah, you don't think your kid's going to get murdered, honestly.
Oh, you don't think your kid's going to get murdered, and you also don't want to make them think that you don't trust them.
Yeah.
No, I will make it clear that it's not a fact of trust. It's a fact of safety. And it's not like I'm going to put the Ring camera on there and just have it come to my phone. I'm going to have it come to all their phones where they're going to be like, we got cameras, but only my dad can see what's going on. No, I don't know.
Well,
I'm not saying anybody's bad parents or anything, and it's just...
It's the same thing for Life 360.
Yeah.
But what happens most of the time, kids get off Life 360 before they go to college because it's freedom. Like, you're learning how to be an adult, and those things need to happen. But
parents, quit asking where they're at every 10 seconds. Just zoom in; it'll tell you.
If you don't watch where your kid's going all the time, your kid's gonna watch where you're going all the time, because that's what I do with my parents. So of course the roommates were cleared, and the friends who were there for the 911 call were cleared.
They conducted over 200 something interviews.
Yes,
I think
maybe even 300.
Yeah, close to 300.
Several people who crossed paths that night, including the background guy at the food truck, was cleared.
Didn't they think he was like a kind of a weird stalker, maybe a little bit?
Yes, because one of the girls, it has been put out there that she had a stalker, or that she had mentioned that somebody was stalking her recently. And so they followed up on a couple of leads. In fact, there were like a couple of boys that were trying to follow her into a store at some point, and they followed up with them, and they found out they were just trying to get girls for the day. It wasn't like they were trying to stalk her specifically.
Yeah, that's the thing with this, though. It's super hard because you can't take, especially a college girl, like, you can't, like, you got to take some of it, what they say, with a grain of salt.
They're pretty, too, so
yeah,
no
and they
dudes
could
are
be
gonna
like,
hitting on them all the time.
Well, this dude's stalking me, and it could have just happened that this guy was at the same place as her twice in one day. And
I get paranoid like that. If I see the same car behind me in the same day, I'm like, this is not good. I need to turn right.
I get paranoid, too, and... Like, if I'm driving somewhere and this dude, if the car behind me takes, like, 3 of the same turns I'm taking, I'm like, all right, look, there's one more turn coming up here. If he doesn't turn here, I'm going to drive past my destination and turn and see if this man's following me.
I've had the same thought. I've kind of wanted it to happen just so I know the person's following me.
If you think they're following you, where do you go?
Police station?
Yes, okay.
Walmart.
No, do not go to Walmart.
Or a public place.
Yeah, it would be safer, but the safest place would just be go to a police station. I mean, what are they going to do? Walk in after you and get arrested?
They might. If they're crazy enough.
Maybe.
Walk in there. I'm being followed.
There was also a guy that drove them from where they were partying to the house, and that person has been cleared as well.
Was it an Uber or just a...
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it was, somebody who's just trying to drive them there safely. Someone they knew, just
giving them a
ride. There was also a huge ordeal about a professor at this college.
Uh-oh.
They were part of the history department, and a TikToker was blaming the murder on her, and now there's a defamation case because the professor is like...
He probably lost his job and everything.
Yeah.
Like,
that's what people like. If you ain't... You help if you can, but you can't go around blaming people and be like, this person didn't put it all over TikTok.
Well, that's not your job. That's the police's job, too.
You help the police, and you talk to them, not put it on TikTok.
You walk up to you go up to the police station, or you call the tip line, and you tell them, look, this person's super suspicious. Do with it what you will. Don't take it into your own hands and call them out on TikTok, because now you're paying...
Or when you say stuff on TikTok, yeah, when you're saying stuff, you need to be like, I'm not sure if, or allegedly.
That person's not worried about it. They thought they solved a case, and
but now they're paying for
it.
It's like it was over $1 million. It was upwards a lot of money. That this
because that can ruin somebody's life.
Yeah,
even if he didn't do it,
even
if she didn't do it,
which is harder to believe to me, but
even if she didn't do it, or if she didn't do it, she's still gonna have that, like, people where they're gonna be like, oh yeah, she definitely did it. I think she did it.
Yeah, you were the woman that was blamed. That was because now she's probably got to move to a different state. She's got to get another job at a different college, and it's just.
She's been cleared, so maybe, but they might just leave her out because people are scared. Or whatever.
That's why it's so important, too, with these big cases, not to release names too soon as well.
Yeah.
Because you do not want them to be attacked, and you do not want anything like those suggestions being made. I mean, even the 2 girl roommates that were downstairs.
She could have made that suggestion, and that she could have been murdered, the professor, because...
Right.
People could have tried to take justice in their own hands.
Yeah.
And that's not fair.
Don't do that. Let the police do their job and handle it. Now, there is one thing, though. I think during the live press conference we watched, he said something along the lines of this. It was showing, we were watching the live news broadcast that they were having before the thing, talking about how the suspect had been arrested. And everybody was so, like, relieved, and it's like, it's finally over, it's over, and I'm like, this is just me and my just untrustworthy side, but it's like, I want to know it's over until I hear some proof. I wouldn't be walking out, screaming out, being
But
like,
even
"We're
when you
saved."
hear proof and that is the person, sometimes they can get away with it too. I mean, look at Casey Anthony, look at
Yeah.
O.J. Simpson. It's just, you still have to be so careful.
Yeah, but it's just like,
But I mean, everybody's probably been on edge for a month now, and it's just a relief to get something finally, because there was a point where they were saying, "Oh yeah, we got this all under control," and that kind of is like, y'all don't have it under control. Y'all are just kind of keep everybody from freaking out more than they already are.
yeah.
So that's even scarier, and everybody's like, "Oh, they ain't got nothing. This person's still running around." And if it's a serial killer, that person can kill at any moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so everybody's freaked out, hopefully locking their doors, getting cameras and stuff. I mean, if the serial killer was smart, he wouldn't do that, but I mean, he might have gotten caught. We don't know, though.
If you're a serial killer and something like this happens, gets so publicized like this, that's when you need to
Lay low.
and I'm not teaching you how to be a serial killer, but
don't lay low. Do something stupid.
Yeah, do something stupid. Run out into the road, butt ass naked, saying, "Hey, I did this." Jaywalk.
Chew your fingernails off and put it in the crime scene somewhere.
Yeah. But yeah.
Also, the morning before the press conference as well, I kind of want to get into that they were cleaning up the crime scene at this point, because when you are looking into the crime scene, I mean, you're putting all sorts of stuff in this house in the first place, and so then you have to clean up everything after the crime scene as well, and then give it back to the family.
Mm-hmm.
But when they were in the middle of cleaning up, that's when they released there was a suspect. And so when they came on and talked about it, they said, "We're going to stop cleanup for a second." So I wonder what that's all about.
The cleanup, and
maybe they're trying to find more physical evidence.
Maybe there's some more DNA that they could find
somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those things you can never be too sure if you got everything.
Right.
You could have missed something, and maybe the person who halted it is just being sure, like, stop cleanup. Let's go over everything again just to make sure if we have everything. If we missed a hair here, or we didn't fingerprint this, or
need as much as they can, because if this suspect did do it, which we're not saying he did, but we don't know. If he did do it,
until proven guilty.
If he did do it, and then they take it to court, they're going to need all the evidence they can get, because stuff can be dismissed and everything. And if they don't have enough, then this dude that they're pretty sure that did it, Matta did it, if he's going to court, could get off.
And the smallest mess up in court can cause a case to get
mistrial and
stuff. Isn't it crazy
mistrial
that this guy in his head knows whether he's done this or not, and is probably not going to tell the truth?
Oh yeah, he'll probably plead not guilty.
Is that not insane? Like, that people have just lied about these things, and they're like, "Of course I didn't do it."
There's a lot of people. Now this is totally different, but I listen to cold cases on a podcast called Cold Case Files, and now this is different because there's so much time between it happening and the time it being solved. I noticed that there's a lot of people who just plead guilty to what they did, but I know that if these crazy people
into it,
that, or I mean,
they want to admit. There's some people I don't understand the psychology behind it, but people wanting to just have, like, they just are like, "Yeah, I did it," and they didn't do it. It's like, why? Mm-hmm. They just want to have that, like,
attention.
Yeah, that attention and that infamy.
Which I don't understand liars either, because personally, I'm a terrible liar. And so...
Sorry.
Even when I try to lie, it does not work.
Yeah,
Tyler can attest
you're not a
to
psychopath.
That.
So.
Yeah, psychopaths are pretty good at lying. And I don't know. It's just... I just like talking about cold cases. Sorry.
No, it's okay. I also want to say, when I was doing this research, it was Friday, December 30th. And I had done that research that morning. And then I come home and Tyler says, "Hey, did you hear they found a suspect?" And I went, no. Because at that point I was at home. I had made lunch. I was, trying to do laundry. And so I looked it up, and then they said, "Oh, there's a press conference today." And so I ended up going to a couple of news sites and looking up, trying to see the press conference. And so we ended up getting to watch it live. And I would like to tell a little funny story that happened when we were watching it.
This is pretty funny.
So to lighten the mood a little bit. So we open up the thing. There's two newscasters talking back and forth. And then they do a countdown and they put it on Facebook Live or whatever. And then we wait a few more minutes, and a reporter or somebody that, is, getting all the information for this case, walks past the camera twice. And I'm like, that's kind of weird. Like, what is he doing? Well, he goes to sit down before the press conference, and he bends over once. You don't see anything. And then he
takes his jacket off.
He readjusts his jacket, and you see full crack on the screen.
Oh yeah, whole butt crack. The whole thing.
Tyler didn't believe me. In fact, we watched the whole press conference before he let me go back and rewatch it. And so by the end of it, I was like, okay, Tyler, it's time for you to see this. And then I was kind of psyching myself out. I was like, maybe this didn't happen. But we went back, and sure enough, we watched it, and there was this man's crack on live television.
Whole ass crack.
For everybody to see.
Everyone. There's over 1 million people watching that. His butt crack.
Yeah.
I'm talking about like belt line was below a halfway point of butt crack.
God dang,
Yeah.
bro.
I'm like, dude.
Get a belt. A better belt.
Yeah.
Tighten that thing up.
Tighten it up, man.
And then, of course, when the press conference was going on, I was starting to get angry because it was a lot of, we can't tell you anything. So basically right now, at this point, look, it's New Year's.
Oh, no, not yet. I got 11:59.
Yeah, right
11:59. Oh, Happy New Year!
Happy New Year's 2023.
Fucking
Let me give you a
notification
kiss.
pops up and says rinse due.
For real?
Yeah. That's rough. Ain't got no kiss. Rinse due. Jesus.
And
I think we need to get to the press conference at this point now.
yes, so I was very angry that we don't get to hear anything about the connection made. And everybody, of course, had questions. They were like, why this, why that? And the only thing we got out of it was they found a car. They don't know what the weapon is. And everything else is like technical. Like, he is where he's at, and he needs to come all the way over to Idaho. Mm-hmm. And that's going to be a whole process about if he chooses to do that or if he chooses not to do that. If he chooses not to, then they're going to have to get some paperwork to get him all the way over there.
How's the car connected? Because it's just in that vicinity, and
it's the
yeah. Which we don't know if that's the connection.
Because they're saying that it could be either this can eliminate somebody, this can be the suspect, it could have critical
because
information.
nobody was coming forward about that car, it was starting to get very sketchy.
The suspect. So going back to the suspect with where he was arrested in Philadelphia, so he's in prison in Philadelphia. He can, they're gonna. This is stupid. They give him the choice to be immediately extradited to, Idaho.
If he doesn't, that might raise suspicions about him. If he doesn't do that,
yeah. Well, if he doesn't do it. Well, if he does do it, then he's gonna go in front of court like soon.
Yeah.
And the evidence and everything, and it's like a file that's sealed, won't be opened until he appears in court in Ohio.
In Idaho.
Idaho, not Ohio.
I think I said Pennsylvania earlier.
Doesn't his lawyers get to look at it though? Don't they get to look at the evidence?
Yeah, but it goes to once he appears in front of a judge, it gets distributed, released.
Oh, okay.
It's how it works right now because he's in front of the judge and they have him there, and it's not like if they released it now, they don't have someone in Idaho who says, "Hey, I did it," and turn themselves in. They didn't really do it. because it would give them information on the case and stuff, and it just causes a whole tiff. Well, if he doesn't, it's going to take a while for him to get from Pennsylvania to Idaho, and they can't release everything. So it's either we're going to hear something real soon or we're going to hear something in 6 months. It's crazy. But
That's rough.
Yeah.
have you talked about during the press conference yet?
About what?
Them asking questions during the question part?
I mean, I mentioned that none of their questions could be answered.
Yeah, so Haley wasn't getting super annoyed, but every question that they were asking this man, he was like, again, I can't answer that. That is, that regards to the case against this man. We can't release that information. And Haley's like, this is so stupid. And I'm like, it's the law.
Yeah, they kind of have to do that.
And
I get that they want to like put their appreciation out there to everybody who's helped in the investigation.
Yeah.
And kind of y'all can breathe for a minute. This is something that
you
don't have to worry about for a second.
This is going to sound weird, but you also kind of want to protect the suspect too, because you don't want to
get him killed if he's not it and stuff like that.
And release too much information, and someone in prison's like, hey, and shanks the man and kills him, and then you don't give the family justice. And but
because we don't know if he's just straight out admitted it yet. We don't know if he's denying it yet. And I
have a strong feeling that he's going to deny it, and it's going to go to a 4-week court trial.
It's going to be another one of those big.
It's going to be a Casey Anthony. It's going to be an O.J. Simpson. It's going to be all that.
Yeah.
It's going to just become...
Does the FBI and stuff in on it?
Yeah, right. They've been working with FBI.
The FBI and there was another agency they were working with, but...
The IBI?
The state. They were working with the state.
GBI?
Idaho Bureau of Investigation.
There was a bunch of places. And I think it's Moscow. I think it is pronounced just like Russia.
Yeah.
Moscow.
Yeah. Well, that's not how they pronounce it, but I digress.
Moscow. I'm just kidding.
Not like that either.
Like you smoked 10 cigarettes.
Yeah. My sister. I can't fucking do a Russian accent. Fuck it. But yeah, I think it's pronounced. It just sounds like you were saying Moscow, like you were putting up. I don't know.
Well, let's just be honest. I'm really bad about enunciating my words. Oh, they did say, please stay safe, because you still want to take caution, but don't live your life like you need to like not do anything. But he was like, but we're pretty confident about it.
We're in the day and age where you need to know that there's crazy people everywhere. It just was crazy. It occurred to me that there's a city in the United States called Moscow.
Well, and then they were talking about his county where he was located, and it's Monroe County.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Where they arrested him in Pennsylvania was Monroe County, Pennsylvania.
I've also seen a lot of things on TikTok today about he looks very similar to Ted Bundy.
Yeah, he does. He looks
crazy.
I was like a handsome, but you get a murder vibe.
The eyes are dead almost.
I was getting a young Jake Gyllenhaal from him.
No, there's an actor that he reminds me of.
That's okay. Tell me the actor if
I
you
don't know,
can figure it out.
I know what you're saying.
He looks like I don't think it's Jake Gyllenhaal who I'm thinking of, but there's an actor that looks like this man. But we're not going to sit here and fanboy over this man like all the women did with Ted Bundy and
not give him any fame.
Fame.
He definitely looks like a guy.
Which is why I try not to mention their name as much as possible. I know that investigators need more information on this man. We don't have to do it. But yeah. I've just also heard a lot of people say you don't want to put names out there because you don't want to give them the glory.
No.
Yeah, you don't want to give them you don't want to make them famous from it.
Because that's what some feed off of.
Yeah.
And so far, that's the end of this Crime Quest. We will probably do an update episode, maybe. Probably. After everything comes out. We don't know when that will be. We don't know if that's going to be the immediate next episode of this Crime Quest segment we're doing. But like, share. If you do like the crime quest, let us know about it. If there's any cases that you would like us to go over, which it can be anything from the 1600s to present day. It doesn't matter. We'll cover it. We'll do some research if you're interested in hearing it. But yeah, like I said before, like, share, subscribe, whatever you need to do. It helps us out tremendously. The more ears that hear us, the more shares we get, the more people will listen to us, and the bigger we can get. Maybe we can get one of them sheds and have a little studio instead of recording out of our living room. But we appreciate y'all, and hope y'all have a good day.
See you in the next one.
See ya.
This is a new song made up by me. Well, I was riding down a dirt road with my baby and the mistletoe.
This sounds like it's copyrighted.
We had a beer on the dash and a one in our hands. Sipping along, then I saw that stand. I said, girl, you want to go hunting? So we climbed in the stand, and I saw a big buck. Shot him down with my headlights on my truck.
What? Did that come straight from the dome?
Yep.
Okay. I'll keep that one.
She said, you don't have any hunting paperwork. I said, girl, I don't give a
What?
This song sounds like shit.
Hey, man. This podcast is my segue into country music.